All right, hi everybody. So today I have a special treat for everyone, a smudge pot. And what this is for, so a few months ago, I was in Sand Hollow and I broke an axle on the Blazer and it twisted up in there and expanded the end of the spindle and made it so that the spindle was no longer usable. So I needed a spindle. Matt from Matt's Offroad Recovery, he had one and was like, here you go, you can have it. And I was like, what? And yeah, no, he really just gave me a very expensive part for my truck that I really needed right at the time. So anyhow, I have made a bunch of these in the past. It's a smudge pot. It's used for heating orchards or patios or whatever you want, really. So anyway, this is probably the 10th or 12th one I've made. There's been a bunch of different evolutions. This is one of the better ones. It's pretty good. And so anyways, let's show you how I guess my plan for this video was to explain A, how to use it, and B, what not to do. So step one, used motor oil. We're gonna pour some of that in. I got a gallon or so already in there. We're gonna put in like 2, maybe 3 gallons. And that's probably pretty good. And then, on top of that, we got, in this jug, we have diesel. So we're gonna put in like, I don't know. Well, I guess I got 4 gallons, so that's what we're getting. So, bunch of diesel. You can run it on almost anything that's oil. So like kerosene, vegetable oil, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, gear oil, motor oil, all the oils. The thing to know though is if you cut it with diesel, it'll perform a lot better. You'll get much bigger, loftier flames if you add some diesel. So back to the moral of the story is I'm going to be giving this to Matt from Matt's Offroad Recovery as a present in return for the spindle. And I hope he likes it.
So you can't just give it to him and not show him how to work it, basically.
Right, we got to show him what's up, how to do it, what not to do.
What not to do.
Big factor of running a smudge pot like this is pay attention to the wind. We got no wind. It's pretty nice right now. But this thing is going to belch some smoke. And so let's say your neighbor's house is directly downwind. You really want to pay attention to that. They will not be your friend anymore because it's pretty awful, the smoke that comes off of this. What else? Don't put water in it. No water. Definitely no water. It's not very good in the wind. Don't light it if it's windy. So there's a lot of things you should consider before you fill it. Another factor that a lot of people overlook is like, oh, it rained last week and there's a little bit of moisture in the bottom of the pot. That will cause you a problem. So there's a lot of factors to consider before you go starting your smudge pot.
Cool.
So the way I light it is probably not the safest method, but it's pretty effective. Step one, get all your flammable stuff.
He's saying get all the flammable stuff away.
Yeah, way over there, kind of far away from where you are.
Why is that?
Oh, I don't know, just thoughts. So then what I do, this is gasoline. I pour in, I don't know, like 2 or 3 cups of gas. It's important that you spill a little bit. move that out of the way. You want to get low. You want to be below this level. And light it.
So like on a hot day, when you light that gas, it's actually more vicious because it's evaporating quicker, right?
Right, and so super dangerous thing that can commonly happen, especially if you're running motor oil, it will light and then maybe you didn't put enough gasoline in and it'll go out. And so now you have this really dangerous situation of a smudge pot that's warm, borderline hot because it ran for a minute or two, but it's not going and it's full of fluid, right? So you try and add more gas. What will happen is, if it hits the metal, it'll immediately evaporate and boil away. When it hits the oil, you can hear it in there just bubbling, and it's really bad news. And your best method, if this is what happens, say it goes out, like right now, let's say it went out. Best method, wait until it's cold enough that you can put your hands on it before you go trying to relight it. Best advice. I've also seen a lot of people have really good success using like a propane weed burning torch. You just stuff that down this hole, turn it on for like 20 minutes, and this thing will be ripping. And so when I was thinking of making this video and saying thank you to Matt for that spindle, I thought of a few other things. I need to say thank you to a few other people. Number one, Rory, Trailmater. Thank you. I built this in his shop. And I built my whole truck there, and I used a ton of parts and a ton of metal and all the welding gas and most of the welding wire. So thanks, Rory.
Thumbs up to Rory.
And then who else? Oh, my buddy Dave back in Wisconsin. He was a big part of the start of building the Blazer. We built an entire homemade frame in his backyard, and it took over a year. It was a long time. So Dave, Sarah, thank you. You guys are great. Who else? Bunch of other people. Jerry, my mentor back when I was in school. I went through an apprenticeship program, and Jerry was the guy that taught me a ton about auto mechanics and fixing cars and trucks, and yeah, thanks, Jerry. Who else? I don't know. There's lots of people. Sean. We need to say thank you to Sean. If it wasn't for Sean, my truck would still be parked in a storage unit, just waiting for nothing to happen. Sean was the guy that was like, hey, isn't that your Blazer parked over there? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I don't got the money or the time or the whatever to fix it. And he's like, no, we got to get that thing going. And it's mostly because of Sean that we are here today. Thanks, Sean. I'm sure there's a ton of other people I'm forgetting, and I appreciate you guys too. It's not really going full value yet, but it's getting pretty good.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot. It's taller than me. But so you can reel it in and make it nice.
What'd you do?
So you just take a rock and put it on here. And you can, I've made them where it has like a metal piece and it slides across. But honestly, I really like the rock better. Reason being, even if that rock's on there for like an hour or two, it doesn't get hot like metal does. And so you can still touch it, is really, but yeah, so you can adjust how big the flames are. You can have it down low, or you can have it raging just by how you adjust your rock. And then there's another thing here. So a lot of people wonder, what does this pipe right here do? What does this do? And the answer is, so you can see down here, this thing is sucking air in, right? It's in a vacuum, this lower part of the pot, I guess we'll call it. And so what it does is it takes partially burnt gases out of the chimney, puts them back into the pot, and it helps clean up the smoke. And it works pretty good. Like, it's not smoke, especially if you have it dialed down to a real low flame. There is really not much smoke. It's a pretty clean burn overall. Put some snow on there. Yeah, it turns it to steam pretty quick. Oh, hey, while you got the camera on, I found my list of the rules. There's a list. Never in the daylight. Reason being, it can make a lot of smoke and it could draw in the fire department. I don't know, even this might cause a scene. So be aware of that. No water. Doesn't like water. Don't put water in it. Never when it's windy. Don't do it when it's windy.
What happens when it's windy?
What happens is the wind comes across this and it'll actually suck air up that tube rather than down, and it'll put itself out and then relight, and it pops and it does all kind of crazy stuff. It's not ideal. So if it's really windy, don't do it. Like, I'd say 10 miles an hour or less is kind of the right amount. Pay attention to the wind direction. I think I talked about that already. Like, yeah, you should know where it's blowing before you light it, because ooh, I have an idea. It's really hard to put out. So, like, you can put a rock over it. You can even put a board over the top, and this thing will keep on burning. It's really hard to get out. So the commercially available ones, those you just close the lid on the top, close the lid on the bottom, it goes right out. It's no big deal. This thing, it ain't like that. So be aware. All right, we thought of some more rules. Don't let your drunk friends play with it. They're gonna get hurt. It hurts. And then also, don't touch it. It's hot. That's it. That's all the rules. Now you know all the rules. All right. What else should we do? Oh, hey, I have some names that people have come up with. So there's been a bunch of names. Like, what do you call this? Because it's not really a smudge pot. It's not the classic version. This is a homemade version. And so, Flaming Monolith. I don't know if you guys saw about the Utah Monolith. In fact, Trailmater on our channel, we went and visited the Utah Monolith. So check it out. Go to Trailmater on their YouTube. It's good stuff. Skookum Choocher. I think that's a pretty fun one. Snookum Floofer. A Danger Maker. Breath of Death. Karen's Rage. Dante's Inferno. So many options, all good.
And if you're giving this to Matt, I don't know, Matt's Mayhem? I don't know.
Yeah. Matt's Monolith? It's Matt's Monolith. We'll call it that for now. So, my dad just asked me a good question. So how did you burn your leg? I burnt my leg real bad playing with one of these. And it's one of the things you should never do, and that is pouring gas into a smudge pot that's already lit. So what the story was, I had filled it just motor oil, poured in about 2 cups of gasoline. I lit it. It was going okay, and then it was going out. It was about to go out. And in the past, what I had done to remedy this situation is you can pour in more gasoline while it's still lit. And what I did is I cut like a beer can in half, filled it with gasoline, poured it in there, and the plan was when it flashes over, you know it's gonna flash over. And so when it starts shooting flames at you, you drop the can, you walk away. Well, when I dropped the can, it bounced off the edge, poured it right in my boot. And I was wearing boots and canvas pants just like this, and it burnt me from like here to here real bad. I'd show you a picture, but it's probably too bad for the internet. Super nasty burn. And so what did I learn? Don't pour gas into a smudge pot that's already on fire. Just wait, let it cool off. Ooh, there's another one. There's another really good thing to know here. You're gonna run out of gas. Like, it's gonna run out of fuel, and you're gonna wanna add more diesel or motor oil or whatever fuel you got. You're gonna wanna put more in here, because you always want more. And so what'll happen is you got your bucket of whatever, and you go to pour it in there, and don't do it. It's never worth it. You can get away with it. I've done it a bunch. Doesn't mean it's okay. There's another video I can show you that I probably shouldn't show you of me pouring a bucket into this thing, and it just explodes in my face. Lost a couple eyebrows. It's really bad. So, no gas if it's already going. No hot refills. Not, or at least not with your face over that hole. What I've been thinking about is like a drip system. Like, say you get a table and a bucket and something dripping, additional oil. I don't know. But hot refills are a really dangerous thing. Be careful. That's all I got.
Nice.